Hello and what is up, YouTube? My name is G3Iron, and today we've got an announcement officially from Natalia, which is a compilation of FAQs regarding the Conquerors of the Atlas expansion that is coming, of course, December 13th. It is going to be like right around the corner. I feel like I'm just amazed that ExileCon has already come and went, and we've got all this information, and a lot of people are still processing a lot of the different various announcements that have come out, and so a bunch of people have asked questions, and GGG, again, I've got to just applaud them in classic GGG fashion. They've already got responses to questions that people have been asking over the last week since 3.9 and Metamorph League and the Conquerors expansion has all been announced. So kudos to GGG. Let's jump right in to the FAQ. Last week we discussed the upcoming changes to the Atlas system in Path of Exile Conquerors of the Atlas. Since then we've received a lot of questions regarding those changes, and we've answered some of them in this news post. First off, will Shaper Guardian maps, our current Tier 16s, still work post 3.9 on Standard League? The answer is absolutely. Woo! So Standard players rejoice. The important question is whether or not Shaper Elder Uber will be a challenge in Metamorph. Answer: we'll be cognizant of the fact that those encounters are becoming less accessible than they once were, and we'll make sure that any challenge that requires killing any of those bosses is reasonable to complete. So, what does that mean? It probably means there's going to be a challenge related to it. Just get ready for that. There's probably, those of you that like to grind for 36 or 40 challenges, just get ready for it. It's probably going to be a challenge that we are going to have to encounter. Whether or not the frequency or the numerical value of it is going to be incredibly high, they're at least telling us that they're cognizant of the fact. That's the quote. So take that for what it's worth. It's probably going to be a challenge, and some people will probably be frustrated by that. All right, third question. What is the expectation for the map tab? Provided we will have multiple tiers of the same maps. Are the map tabs getting reworked? Answer: map stash tabs are being reworked to handle the upcoming Atlas changes. We will provide more information with specifics in a future post. This is really good news. Again, any other company could say, hey, we're redoing this extensive endgame part of our game, and so now you've got to go out and buy a DLC. Or now you've got to go out and buy another stash tab that's unique for this particular league or for this particular expansion. We don't have to do that. Map tabs are going to be specifically customized for Conquerors of the Atlas maps, which is fantastic. Next question. So what happens when you start up a new character and get to the Atlas, which you've boosted to tier 14s? Can we unsocket them to lower them? So for those of you who aren't aware, we are going to be able to essentially make settings to where our entire Atlas is set to tier 14 through 16. So that's where the nature of this question comes from. If you've got one character that, let's say, is farming tier 14 through 16 comfortably, but you start a new character and you're in your mid 70s right after you kill Kitava, and you're looking around going, how do I level? I can't quite clear tier 14s. Well, will we be able to unsocket these particular high-tiered maps and essentially lower the tiers? The answer is yes. You'll be able to unsocket Watchstones, so you'll be able to reduce the tiers of maps that drop within a region temporarily if you'd like. So this is going to be our new, essentially shaping of the Atlas strategy upon new characters, depending on whether or not you rush a full character all the way through your Atlas and complete the endgame, or where exactly you are in your league cycle and in your personal play. It could be that you get lots of characters to maps and then level them up all together. It could be that you want to push through to the end on one character, etc. But if you do push to the end with one character, there will be such mechanisms available to you that you'll be able to still level up other characters and engage with that same Atlas. Are Watchstones tradable? No, they're quest items and as such can't be traded. Though that said, there might be a special set of Watchstones that can be traded. Hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge right there. Do these Watchstones do anything, or are they simply plus numerical values to map tiers in this region? Like, do they give various mods, increase the likelihood of certain mods, or anything along those lines? Answer: in addition to increasing the map tiers of maps within a region, Watchstones also reveal previously hidden maps within that region. For example, socketing a Watchstone may reveal a hidden shore map that you previously could not see. Those maps will remain revealed for as long as the Watchstone is socketed. As for whether there are Watchstones that add modifiers, you'll just have to wait and see. Okay, another wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Here's a hint. Do the Watchstones have affixes that they can roll? Most Watchstones won't be able to roll any modifiers, but there are some special Watchstones that we'll talk about more at a later time. Okay, so are we getting the picture here? There's a lot that's going to be coming with Watchstones and a lot of variation and variety that will be included as we get details about Watchstones. So pay attention in the upcoming days and weeks about Watchstone announcements. Can Watchstones be obtained in any order, or are some of them expected to be obtained earlier or later than others? Answer. Players will likely find their Watchstones in varying orders, though, given that most of them do the same thing, there's not much harm in this. So it won't be like Shaper Orbs, where it was Shaper Orb Tier 1, Shaper Orb Tier 2, Shaper Orb Tier 3. It won't be sequential in that way, but that's okay. They've designed the system such that just because you're getting things to drop out of order as it is, the order isn't of such a layer of magnitude that it's going to interfere with our gameplay. Fingers crossed that that's true. All right. How is the unique Watchstone mentioned by Neon in the Q&A session different from others? Answer. That one will do the same thing that other Watchstones do, i.e. it will increase tiers of maps within a region and reveal maps. But it will also do a little bit more. More information to come on that later. So lots of teasers here, even as they're giving us an FAQ. Will unique maps scale too? They sure will, which this was my big question as soon as we learned that all of the maps are going to tier and unique maps would tier. The question, will tier variability affect the Hall of Grandmasters? Because the Hall of Grandmasters is incredibly lucrative and has got a rare, incredibly rare mirror-related divination card that drops from the Hall of Grandmasters occasionally. So it's a very, very important zone to farm for players who are able to accomplish it. The answer to this question is it will, though the tier of this map doesn't affect the damage or life of the Grandmasters. We hope you found these answers helpful. We'll answer more questions in the coming weeks. So, my first reaction to all of this announcement has to be, those of you out there, and I know there are some of you in Guild, and there are several of you who are not necessarily in our G3 Guild, but who play with us on a regular basis. Get ready for a Hall of Grandmasters meta. They have answered the question that this doesn't affect damage or life of the Grandmasters themselves. In other words, if you're capable of farming the Grandmasters now at their present tier, you'll be able to do it when you boost the tier up to 14 through 16. But by boosting the tier up, you should get better XP and hopefully as well better drops. So we actually could see like a Hall of Grandmasters meta this particular league. If you're in a trade league, of course, which Hall of Grandmasters is always an interesting meta because there are certain builds that's all they do, and then there are other builds who want nothing to do with Hall of Grandmasters, and so they need a carry in order to carry them through it. So we may do some interesting builds in the upcoming months and weeks ahead where we actually dissect what it takes to actually bust into the Hall of Grandmasters and farm it effectively, because it is incredibly lucrative if you are able to do so and sell that as a service to other players in a trade league. But anyway, I've already said too much for right now. Here's the answers for part 1 for Conquerors of the Atlas FAQ, which means I would hope that there's going to be a part 2 coming at some point, and my guess would be that it's going to have to do with more on the Watchstones and all of these various teasers that they have dropped for us. Anyway, drop us a comment down below with your questions about Conquerors of the Atlas. Let us know whether or not you think that these questions are answered sufficiently enough, or if you think this is just a bunch of teases and Easter eggs where we're all going to be waiting to see exactly what more information about these Watchstones are. I think this is relatively good news across the board for players who were concerned about whether that's leveling up alternate characters, as well as players who were worried about shaping their Atlas. Essentially, yes, we're going to have abilities to raise the Atlas up for as high as we want, but if we want to change the way how we're farming the Atlas, it won't be the same unshaping way, quote unquote, that we've done in the past. We're going to have different mechanisms to do that, namely Watchstones. But I think overall, I think this is, at least for me, this is certainly allaying some of the fears that we had that maybe this meta might might be negative in some way, right? This seems to be a very, very positive meta when you've got the option to potentially farm any map that you want and multiple maps sustaining between tier 14 through 16. It's going to make sustain for maps a lot better at a lot higher level across the board. So it's something that I'm definitely excited for. And yeah, if you are sleeping on this announcement about Hall of Grandmasters, well, I'll just say you're probably not going to have a specific divination card drop for you in the upcoming league. But anyway, for those of you who are willing to put in the time and the effort to farm Hall of Grandmasters, yeah, you're going to make a big, big turnaround in terms of your profit. Anyway, all that being said, I hope that this upcoming year with this upcoming expansion, Conquerors of the Atlas, is a year when a Mirror of Calandra drops for you. Thanks for watching that video. If you'd like more information on any of our discussion points today, you can see them down below in the video description. If you'd also like to join our Discord or support our Patreon, you can do so with the links down below. Thanks again, and big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters.